The market for anti-COVID vaccines is alive and well. Some travel agents are even offering jet and jab packages that allow you to travel to countries like the United Arab Emirates, where you can get your vaccination easier, but for a price. Unequal access to vaccines in particular, and to healthcare services in general, are just part of what we're witnessing in our post-pandemic societies. Pope Francis has called for cooperation, not competition, for some time now. He's also asked the Vatican to set up a task force to examine the challenges of our post-COVID world and to come up with solutions.
Prego a tutti I responsabili degli Stati, imprese, organismi internazionali, di promuovere la cooperazione e non la concorrenza e di cercare una soluzione per tutti, vaccini per tutti, specialmente per I più vulnerabili e bisognosi di tutte le regioni del pianeta.
But it's not just about vaccines. So many people have lost their jobs. Many families are going hungry. The environment is suffering while the arms trade is booming. The Pope reminds us that we need to identify new economic and political mechanisms that can help the most vulnerable and weakest members of our society. In March 2020, the Vatican set up a committee of experts from all around the world to address these issues. 1 year later, they've come up with a series of concrete proposals and good practices, and they're ready to share them. How are you supposed to form a family and plan for the future if you can't guarantee a stable income? That's the question that academics and business leaders have been grappling with at the invitation of the Vatican Dicastery for Integral Human Development. That's a question people in the Middle East have been asking for years. Pope Francis himself provided an answer recently by traveling to Iraq. That trip proved that you can rebuild trust and confidence as long as you're willing to engage in open dialogue and mutual cooperation. And since actions speak louder than words, it's worthwhile remembering there are currently around 50 Catholic agencies concretely assisting in the reconstruction of Iraq, Lebanon, and Syria particularly.
Preghiamo tutti il Signore perché tanta sofferenza nella amata e martoriata Siria non venga dimenticata e perché la nostra solidarietà ravvivi la speranza.
Rekindling hope is easily as important as supplying material aid, which is why the Church does both. While Catholic charities like Caritas provide food and shelter, the Vatican promotes dialogue as an incentive for development. In Syria, Caritas constantly calls for the removal of international sanctions, which impact mostly ordinary people and only increase their suffering. Meanwhile, a Vatican-sponsored campaign to raise funds to fight the pandemic raised nearly $8.5 million in the first few months. The inequalities caused by the pandemic are of global concern and must be dealt with globally. That's where open dialogue and mutual cooperation come in. Without them, something will always be left out and someone left behind.
La pandemia è una crisi e da una crisi non si esce uguali. O usciamo migliori o usciamo peggio. Noi dovremmo uscire migliori e per migliorare le ingiustizie sociali e il degrado ambientale. Oggi abbiamo un'occasione per costruire qualcosa di diverso.
Right now, the Vatican is inviting people at all levels of the Church to come together with creativity and commitment to help build a post-pandemic world that's both different and better. Because no crisis comes without an opportunity.